Hello, welcome back to Deaf Australia. My name's Tom McDermott and I'm our Director of Activities. Now I'm leading on what we're calling the Contest of Ideas, and what we're trying to do with this contest is to have a conversation with you that will get you thinking and hopefully will spark the creativity that leads to new ideas. However, if you're not sure what Deaf Australia is, go and have another look at the introductory video on our Facebook page and give you a good idea of who we are and what we're up to. So I'm here today to introduce you to the first of our 5 themes, and these themes are designed as the hubs for our discussion. The first theme is called the future fight, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick 3-minute introduction. I'm going to ask you to go to our website and start looking at the series of resources that we're gathering there. What we then need you to do is to broadcast these wide, asking questions of us and each other and driving the discussion forwards. So the first theme we're going to look at is the future fight, and I'll start with some context. Western armies have now spent nearly 15 years on enduring operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, and the roots of this go deep. Our equipment, our vehicles, our doctrine, even our culture and our leadership styles are now firmly grounded in this experience. But the face of conflict is rapidly changing, and the Western world now faces a spectrum of threats that ranges from the sort of new generation warfare we're seeing in Ukraine, through proxy conflicts in Syria, and to the spectre of major conflicts in Asia. As we pause to rapidly take breath following Iraq and Afghanistan, we need to put ourselves into a process that allows us to reflect on the experiences, absorb the good lessons, innovate and adapt, and then be ready to engage in the next challenge. So what we want to do with our first theme is to bracket it in time and to try and imagine what our fighting environment might look like in about 5 to 10 years' time. By keeping it close, we keep the innovations realistic. So at this stage, what we're not talking about are autonomous weapon systems or space battles. These are more the provinces of the Army's futures programs. However, we are talking about a battle space that increasingly blends conventional capabilities with emerging low and high-tech tactics. Let's look at an example, and let's take the Ukraine. Now, recent fieldwork published by the US-based Potomac Foundation paints a realistic picture of a hyper-violent conflict where Russian forces and Ukrainian separatists are utilising what they now openly call new generation warfare. The style of this conflict is very different to what we've experienced since 2001. For example, heavy tank is very much back in play, this time with reactive armour and sophisticated hard and soft kill defensive aid suites. And you'll find in these tanks, alongside artillery and air defence, increasingly banded together into combined arms groupings, training and operating down at the company level, much lower than we've traditionally trained at. Massed fires are also back in business. Thermobaric weapons and scatterable munitions are causing about 80% of the casualties in the Ukraine, and these casualties are very high, with single strikes killing up to 1/3 of Ukrainian formations. However, this isn't the warfare from the 1980s. The blending of new technology with old is changing the character of this conflict. If you mass in the Ukraine, either physically or electronically, you're dead. Drone proliferation, electronic warfare and long-range fires means that battalions are now operating with a frontage of over 50 kilometres. Whole areas of the Ukraine are now so EW contested that no radios or digital equipment will work, so maps and talc are very much back in business. The area of Donbass now has the most prolific air defence network in the world, and as a result helicopter pilots are being forced to fly at no more than 5 metres above the ground to avoid missiles. Perhaps most notably, most of the conduct of the war in the Ukraine is now rejecting the rules of war that the international system has worked so hard to maintain since the end of World War II. Subversion, cyber operations and black psyops and the careful breaking of ceasefires have become strategic assets of denial, working on creating a psychological edge over the enemy. Now we think you need to ask yourself, if you were to place an Australian brigade into a similar environment to the Ukraine, how would it operate to win? Would it realistically even be able to survive? So on our site and via Facebook and Twitter, we'll be pulling together a hub of resources about the potential future fight, whether it be new generation warfare, the battle against religious extremism, or conventional war against nation states. And what we need from you is to work through these resources and develop innovative ideas on how we might fight and win in these potential battle spaces. Now we do want technical innovations. Contributors will have great ideas on how we can better use existing technology and what we might procure or buy rapidly to give us an edge. However, we really also want ideas about new concepts, battle-winning ideas for doctrine, leadership, critical thinking and culture that will give us an edge, perhaps without the need to buy the hover tanks. So, if you've got it in you, register on the site, have a look at the resources, brainstorm some ideas with your colleagues, and then start pitching them to us. We're very much here and we're very much ready to listen. Thank you.